Cracking the Man Code is not a dating app. It's really about relationships between men and women. It's also about our coworkers. Matt Bogs writes in his book, his ebook about cracking the man code, he points out, because he is the director of love and relationships, that the tips and techniques that he gives in his book is really focused on us improving our communication skills in all kinds of relationships, whether that be with our kids, siblings, spouses, our direct reports at the office. When you learn how to give patience, give compassion, give attention, which is what he teaches in the book, you are building loyalty and trust and kindness that it's going to be back at you. So you are going to receive kindness also. You're going to receive compassion, trust, and loyalty when you practice what Matt teaches us in the ebook. In regards to give passion, many of us believe that it makes us weak, that people perceive that we're making them into victims, that we're feeling sorry for them. When in essence, learning how to give compassion is really the idea of you want to give people support. You want to know a little bit of their backstory, but not enough where it's too much information. You want to be able to show kindness to them, which simply means listening for a few minutes. When you give compassion, you are building strength in your relationship. As I mentioned, people misconstrue the idea of compassion to being weak, to making someone into a victim. Therefore, you want to converse with them in a way that shows that you're there to give them relief, whether it's trauma from a mother dying, trauma from an accident. Being compassionate is a way to build loyalty and trust in any relationship, especially in the work environment. Let me share an example. And I want to say that the idea of being kind itself is so overused in our society now, but it's really important being kind to someone when you don't know exactly what's going on. When I worked in the French wine industry in New York, it was the end of the year, and in my opinion, everybody should have made their goals by December 17th. My direct report was sending me out, which was fine. I already had a case of champagne loaded in my car. I was going to give certain bottles to the accounts that were the best. I was keeping a few bottles for myself. This case cost $800. I was already out in the car. And my direct report texts me and he says, "Valerie, I have to make $17,000 today for my team." And I didn't even listen to him. I'm driving in a blizzard, basically. Cut to the chase, I was T-boned by a drunk and a heroin addict. Had I been responding to his text, putting in orders, I would not be here to share this example of compassion with you. After 3 months of recovery, I had several broken bones. My car was totaled. I could have been totaled if I had not been paying attention to my driving, and this guy heading toward me at 55 miles an hour. He calls me into the office when he knows I'm capable of getting up and around, driving a car and walking on the creepy crawler thing. He proceeds to tell me he's threatening to fire me if I don't improve my attitude. I asked for a transfer to Florida, and I got it. Now, here's a man who I believe doesn't understand compassion. I also believe that he is from the old school where if you show kindness, support, compassion to someone, that's a weakness for a man to show to his team member. Instead, he threatened to fire me. There was not going to be no more loyalty shown to him, no more team spirit. I certainly wasn't going to stay in his team, and I was thrilled that I got transferred to Florida. But he made one of the biggest mistakes of his life because he had one of the best sales gals ever in the industry selling French wine for the company. That's why you want to show compassion, folks. You could lose one of the best salespeople you've ever had. Take strength to have compassion. Don't be an old-fashioned manager. The other example of someone not showing me compassion was my former French husband. When my mom died, we had been married for a couple of years. The first thing he did was ask for $10,000 so he could be a day trader. I inherited a substantial amount of money, which is how I bought the 40 acres, if anybody wonders how that happened, years ago. He was actually quite mean to me also during my time of grieving. It was incomprehensible to me. So, yeah, after a few months of that, I went to Austin, Texas to take a long vacation. And all he had to do was be kind. All he had to really learn was my backstory and why I was grieving so much for my mom. That's why compassion is so vital. So give compassion. You're going to build trust and loyalty amongst everyone you know. And guess what? You're going to get that back. That same emotion that you're putting out there, you will get it back from those you're supporting with compassion. In Kundalini Yoga and the meditation environment, I have links to virtual classes. The one from Har Prakash, my favorite virtual teacher, and I studied with her in New York, is a whole Kriya on open your heart. If you don't open your heart, you stay mean, you stay old-fashioned, you stay weak. Learn to open your heart through this Kundalini Yoga practice. It's the same thing with Carrie Kopasek's meditation, Made in Meditation. She teaches people how to open their heart also. These classes are virtual. These classes are good for your kids. They're good for everybody in your family. So do something unconventional and learn how to do Kundalini Yoga and meditation. Lastly, wine. I am focusing on wines from South Africa for the next few weeks because I feel as though they're undiscovered. Americans need to experiment and get a hold of these wines. You can contact me for any kind of wine that I discuss in my podcast. Madame May Lacasang discovered Glen Elly Estates when she was in her late 70s. She is famous for classified growth in Bordeaux already. Hundreds of years this chateau has been producing fine Bordeauxs. All of her wines are made from Bordeaux blends. This particular podcast talks about their estate wines. She only has two, the estate red and the estate white, simply called that. Well, they're called the estate reserves. The red is the typical Bordeaux blend, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, Petit Verdot. They are aged in oak. They're going to be very rich and elegant. The Chardonnay I will not drink because she does profess that it's got a buttery flavor, it has overtones of butterscotch, and that comes from the wood. I do not like wooded wines. Great food wines, though. When you have that Chardonnay, have it with lobster or something really rich. The estate red is going to want your heavier foods also. So they're actually great winter wines right now also. To wrap this up, learn compassion, practice compassion. It's kindness. Yes, I know that's an overused word, but learn how to be kind. Learn just a little bit of the backstory of the people around you. And practice the way you want to be treated also in a rough situation. Yoga, meditation, open your heart. Learn these kriyas. You can just listen to them. You don't have to get on the floor and do these exercises. Lastly, Glen Elly wines. They are stunning wines. They are affordable. They're not that expensive. Break out and explore and do something to really expand your life. I am Valerie Hale. I create this podcast every Wednesday to help people create a blueprint for their ideal life. Then send me some hugs, some compliments, some concerns, some questions. Subscribe. Would love all of that. Merci et au revoir.